AITA for getting my best friend's girlfriend fired from her job? I, 28 EMCM, have been best friends with Jake, 30 AYM, since college. A few months ago, Jake started dating Emily, 26F, a waitress at a restaurant downtown. At first, Emily seemed cool and I was happy for Jake. But lately, I've noticed some red flags about her behavior. Last week, Jake and I met up for drinks after work. He seemed really down and confided in me that Emily had been acting distant and cold towards him. He wasn't sure what was going on, but was worried their relationship might be in trouble. I tried to console him, but also mentioned that I'd noticed Emily acting flirty with other guys when I saw her at the restaurant. A few days later, I was at the restaurant getting takeout when I saw Emily brazenly flirting with a customer. She was touching his arm, laughing at all his jokes, and blatantly ignoring other tables. I was fuming, thinking about how hurt Jake would be. So I pulled out my phone and secretly recorded a video of her inappropriate behavior. The next day, I sent the video to the restaurant manager anonymously. I explained in the email that this was extremely unprofessional conduct from one of their employees. Later that day, Emily called me crying that she had been fired. She accused me of setting her up and ruining her life out of jealousy. Jake was confused when Emily stormed out on him during their date that night. I felt guilty for potentially messing up their relationship, but I also think Emily's actions at her job were way out of line. AITA for getting Emily fired? AITA for getting upset with my friend for inviting my ex to her party? I, 29 Mies, have been friends with Sarah, 30F, for years. A few months ago, my ex-girlfriend Jen, 27F, and I broke up after dating for 2 years. It was a messy breakup and I was really hurt by it. Sarah knew how much the breakup affected me. Last weekend, Sarah was hosting a birthday party at her place. When I got there, I saw Jen mingling with the other guests. I pulled Sarah aside and said, "What is she doing here? You know how hard the breakup was for me." Sarah replied, "I'm sorry. I didn't think it would be a big deal since it's been a few months." She's still my friend too. I was fuming and told Sarah, "You should have at least given me a heads up. This is so inconsiderate of you." Sarah looked hurt and said, "I'm sorry you feel that way, but I didn't think I needed to ask your permission for who to invite to my own party." I ended up leaving shortly after. Sarah texted me later saying I overreacted and ruined her party. But I think she was being insensitive by inviting my ex without any warning. So ATA for getting upset with my girlfriend over her expensive dog purchase? I, 28, and my girlfriend Jane, 26F, have been dating for 2 years and recently moved in together. Last week, Jane told me she wanted to adopt a dog from the local shelter. I was totally on board with this as I love dogs, and it would be nice to have a furry companion around our apartment. Yesterday, Jane excitedly told me she had adopted a dog and would be picking it up today. I asked how much the adoption fees were, expecting it to be a few $100s at most. Jane then dropped the bombshell that she had actually purchased a purebred French bulldog puppy from a breeder for $3,500. I was stunned and immediately got upset. "What were you thinking spending that much money on a dog?" I said angrily. Jane looked crestfallen and said, "I've always wanted a Frenchie and fell in love with this one. I know it was expensive, but it's what I really wanted." I told her that was an absurd amount to spend on a pet when we could have adopted a wonderful dog from the shelter for a fraction of the cost. Jane argued that she had been financially responsible, saving up specifically for this puppy over the past year without touching our shared expenses. I'm still struggling with the fact that Jane spent so much on what I view as an impulsive and lavish purchase without consulting me first. She says she doesn't need my permission to spend her own money how she wants. I think that type of expenditure should have been discussed between us first since we're supposed to be partners. AITA for making a big deal over Jane's expensive dog.
AITA for getting upset with my sister for wearing the same dress as me to my wedding. I, 28F, and my younger sister Hannah, 24F, have always been very close. My wedding to my husband Josh, 30M, was coming up, and Hannah insisted on helping me plan every detail. She said she wanted it to be perfect for me. About a month before the big day, Hannah came over in tears. "I found the most gorgeous dress for your wedding, but it was the last one in my size." I was touched that she cared so much about looking nice for my wedding. so I told her to go ahead and get it. On my wedding day, I was getting ready with my bridesmaids when Hannah walked in, wearing the exact same dress as me. "What are you doing in my wedding dress?" I screamed. "I thought you meant for me to get it as a bridesmaid dress," she cried. "You can't wear a white dress to someone else's wedding, let alone the same one as the bride," I yelled. Hannah started sobbing, saying, "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to ruin your day." Part of me felt awful for making her cry on my wedding day, but another part thought she should have known better. My mother got involved, saying, "Girls, please don't fight today, of all days." In the end, one of my bridesmaids lent Hannah a dress, but the tension put a bit of a dark cloud over the day. So AITA? AITA for kicking my boyfriend out after he surprised me with a puppy? I, 26, and my boyfriend, 28M, have been dating for 3 years. We moved in together 6 months ago into a modest apartment. Things have been going well, but we've been arguing more about finances and responsibilities. Last week was my birthday. When I got home from work, my boyfriend had a surprise for me. He adopted a puppy. He said, "Happy birthday, babe. I know how much you've wanted a dog." I was speechless. At first I was excited, but then I got upset. I told him, this was a huge decision to make without me. "Puppies are so much work and money." He looked crushed and said, "But I thought you'd be happy. I did this for you." We argued more about the surprise and responsibilities. Finally, I said, "This was incredibly inconsiderate. You need to return the puppy or move out until you can be more mature about big decisions." He grabbed some clothes and left with the puppy, saying he'd stay at a friend's place. It's been 2 days and I feel terrible for making him leave, but also upset he did this without discussing it first. AITA?
AITA for kicking my sister out after she moved in without permission. I, 28, and my girlfriend Amanda, 27F, live together in a 2-bedroom apartment. My younger sister Emily, 24F, recently broke up with her boyfriend and lost her job, so she has been crashing on friends' couches. Last week, Emily showed up at our door with her bags, saying she had nowhere else to go and begging to stay with us for a while. Against my better judgment, I felt bad and let her in temporarily. But after a few days, Emily made no effort to look for a job or new place. She just lounged around all day watching TV. When Amanda and I tried to discuss her leaving, Emily would cry and guilt-trip us, saying we were her only family and she'd end up on the streets. Things came to a head when Amanda got home from work yesterday. Emily had thrown a party at our place without asking. There was a mess everywhere, loud music, people we didn't know. Amanda lost it and screamed at Emily to get her freeloading butt out of our home. Emily ran to her room crying while I kicked everyone else out. This morning, Emily was gone, but she left a nasty note calling us awful siblings who failed her when she needed us most. I feel terrible about how it all went down, but Emily overstayed her welcome and took advantage of our hospitality. Amanda thinks we were too soft on her in the first place. So AITA? ATA for kicking out my pregnant sister-in-law? I, 30, and my wife Julie, 28F, let my younger brother Tom, 24, and his girlfriend Amy, 22F, stay with us when they got kicked out of their apartment. Amy is 7 months pregnant, and Tom doesn't have a steady job. At first, it wasn't an issue since we have a spare bedroom. But after a month, tensions started rising. Amy would leave dirty dishes all over and never cleaned up after herself. When I asked her politely to keep things tidy, she'd snap back that she's pregnant and exhausted. Tom wouldn't stand up for us, just saying, "Don't stress Amy out, it's not good for the baby." Things came to a head last week. Amy made a huge mess in the kitchen, cooking a late-night snack. I lost it, telling her she's taking advantage of our hospitality and needs to shape up or get out. Amy burst into tears and Tom yelled at me for upsetting his pregnant girlfriend. Julie tried to calm everyone down, saying, "We're all under a lot of stress here. Let's talk it out tomorrow when we've slept on it." The next day, Tom and Amy had already moved out to stay with Amy's mother. My brother won't return my calls, and Julie thinks I went too far since Amy is having a baby soon. But I felt so disrespected in my own home. AITA for kicking out my pregnant sister-in-law over her messiness. I feel terrible, but also like I had no choice. AITA for not allowing my brother to bring his girlfriend to our family vacation. I, 28M, along with my wife, 27F, my parents, and my brother, 25M, have a tradition of taking a beach house vacation every summer. We look forward to this time to relax and reconnect as a family. This year, my brother asked if he could bring his new girlfriend, 22F, of 4 months. My parents were against the idea, saying, "This is meant to be family only. We don't know her well enough." But my brother argued, "She's my girlfriend, practically family. You're just being unfair." I tried to be the voice of reason. "Look, I get both sides, but this trip is our tradition, just us." My brother stormed off, saying, "So much for being supportive. I guess my relationship doesn't matter to you all." The vacation is in 2 weeks, and tensions are high. My brother hasn't spoken to me since our argument. Part of me feels we should compromise and let her come, but another part wants to keep our family tradition. AITA for not allowing my brother's girlfriend on our family vacation? I'd appreciate any advice on how to resolve this. AITA for not approving my daughter's marriage? I, 55 Miam, have an only daughter, 23F. She recently got engaged to her boyfriend, 25 Miam, of 2 years. While he's a decent guy from a good family, there's an issue that's making me apprehensive about their marriage. My daughter was born with a mild form of dwarfism. She's 4'2", and her condition means she'll always have a smaller body and stature. Her fiancé is an average-sized man at 5'10". I'm concerned that their height difference and her dwarfism could lead to difficulties in judgment from others down the line. When I expressed my reservations, my daughter was very upset. "You've always been so supportive of me, Dad. Why can't you be happy that I've found someone who loves me for who I am?" My wife thinks I'm being overprotective. Their height difference is not our business. If they're happy together, we should support their decision. But I can't help worrying that my daughter will face challenges because of her condition. I just want what's best for her. Maybe I am being too controlling, but it's coming from a place of love. So Reddit, AITA for not fully approving of my daughter's marriage due to her dwarfism and their height difference? I want her to be happy, but I also want to protect her from potential difficulties.
AITA for not going to my mom's wedding. I, 24F, have always had a rocky relationship with my mom, 47F. She was pretty neglectful growing up, putting her boyfriends and partying before taking care of me. My grandparents basically raised me until I was 12. After that, I was mostly on my own while she continued her party lifestyle. Last year, she met a new guy, Tom, 51M, and got completely swept up in the relationship. At first, I was happy for her and hopeful this would be the one to settle her down. But as the months went by, Tom started showing some concerning behavior. He's extremely controlling, keeps my mum on a tight leash, and has isolated her from friends and family. When I tried talking to her about it, she just brushed it off, saying, "Tom just really loves me and wants me to himself." Last month, Tom proposed, and my mum happily accepted. She told me the wedding would be in a few weeks at the courthouse and she wants me there. I declined, saying I couldn't support a relationship where she's clearly being mistreated and controlled. She blew up at me, calling me a terrible daughter for not being happy for her. My grandparents are also worried about Tom, but they're going to the wedding to keep the peace. So, AITA for not going? I feel like I'm just looking out for my mum's well-being, but she thinks I'm overreacting and ruining her happiness. I don't know what to do.
AITA for not letting my friend borrow my car? I, 25 Mir, have a close friend, Emma, 24F, who recently got her driver's license after failing the test a few times. She doesn't have a car yet and has been relying on public transport and rides from friends. Last week, Emma asked if she could borrow my car to drive to her parents' house, which is about an hour away. I was hesitant because Emma is a new driver and my car is fairly new. I told her I wasn't comfortable lending her my car yet since she just got her license. Emma got upset, saying, "You don't trust me at all. I passed the test. I'm a licensed driver now." I explained it wasn't about trust, but more about her lack of experience on the road. She got really offended and said I was being overprotective. We haven't spoken since then, and some mutual friends think I was too harsh. Part of me feels bad for not supporting Emma as a new driver, but I also don't want to risk lending my car to someone with very little driving experience. AITA for refusing to let her borrow my car? Let me know your thoughts.
AITA for not wanting my boyfriend to donate a kidney. I, 25, and my boyfriend Alex, 27, have been together for 3 years. Alex's sister Rachel, 30, has been struggling with kidney failure for the past year. Her condition has worsened recently, and she needs a kidney transplant soon. Alex decided he wants to donate one of his kidneys to Rachel. "I'll do anything to help my sister," he said. "She's been through so much already. While I understand his desire to help family, I'm worried about the risks involved. What if something goes wrong during the surgery?" I asked. "Or what if you have complications down the line from only having one kidney?" "Are you seriously asking me to let my sister die?" Alex shouted. "She's my family. I have to do this for her. I know she's important to you," I said sadly. "But you're important to me too. I don't want to risk losing you. We've been arguing about this constantly, and I don't know what to do." AITA for not wanting my boyfriend to go through with the kidney donation.
AITA for refusing to attend my friend's wedding? I, 28, and my best friend Sam, 29, have been close since college. A year ago, Sam got engaged to his girlfriend Jess, 27F. They immediately started planning a lavish destination wedding in Hawaii. Last month, Sam told me that only partners or spouses were invited due to the high costs. He said, "Sorry, man, it's a couples-only wedding. You'll have to watch the live stream." I was hurt and upset. Sam is my closest friend, and I've been there for all his big life moments. I responded angrily, "Are you serious? After everything we've been through, I'm not invited to your wedding?" Sam tried to calm me down, saying I know it sucks, but the venue is small and Jess's family is huge. We're already way over budget. I couldn't accept it. I told him, if I'm not good enough to attend, then I won't be watching either. Have a nice life. Then I stormed off. My other friends think I overreacted and that Sam is being reasonable given the costs. But I feel completely betrayed by my supposed best friend. AITA for refusing to attend or even watch Sam's wedding. AITA for refusing to let my sister use my car after she damaged it. I, 29 Miss, and my sister, 26F, have always had a tense relationship. She has a habit of not taking care of things that don't belong to her. Last month, she borrowed my car without asking and got into a minor fender bender. She didn't tell me until I noticed the damage a week later. "You wrecked my car? Are you kidding me? I'm so sorry, it was just a little accident. I didn't think it was that bad." I told her she'd have to pay for the repairs, which she reluctantly agreed to after complaining that I was being unfair. Well, last week she asked to borrow my car again because hers was in the shop. "Please, I really need to get to work. I promise I'll be super careful this time." "Absolutely not. You already proved you can't be trusted with my car. That's not fair. It was one mistake. I need your help." She started crying and saying I was being a horrible brother. Our parents got involved and said I was overreacting and should let her borrow the car. But I held my ground because I can't trust her not to damage it again. AITA?
AITA for refusing to move cities for my partner's job. I, 28F, and my boyfriend Dan, 30M, have been together for 5 years. We live in a nice apartment in Chicago and both have decent jobs here. Recently, Dan was offered an amazing job opportunity in San Francisco that would be a huge career boost. The only catch is that we'd have to relocate across the country. When Dan brought it up, I was hesitant. I really love Chicago and have my entire life here. My family, friends, and career. Dan argued, this could set me up for life and open so many doors. Don't you want what's best for our future? I do want him to succeed, but I don't want to sacrifice everything I have here. Chicago is my home, and I can't imagine leaving. Dan got upset, saying, "You're being selfish. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you're holding me back." We've been fighting about it constantly, with neither of us willing to budge. I'm afraid if he takes the job without me, it could end our relationship. But I also don't want to resent him for making me leave my home. AITA for refusing to move for his job. AITA for revealing my friend's secret at her wedding. I, 26F, was the maid of honor at my best friend Amy's 28F wedding last weekend. Amy and her husband Tom, 29M, have been together for 5 years. During the reception speeches, I shared a story from our college days that revealed Amy had cheated on Tom early in their relationship. Some background. Amy and I were roommates freshman year, and she confided in me that she had drunkenly hooked up with a random guy at a party, even though she and Tom had been dating for a few months at that point. She was incredibly remorseful and swore it was a one-time mistake that she had never told Tom about. Fast forward to the wedding. I was giving a speech about how Amy and I had been through everything together. I mentioned that story to show even our rockiest times because I thought it would be a fun remember when moment that displayed how far they'd come. But Tom looked stunned, and Amy went bright red. She pulled me aside after and shouted, "How could you do that to me on my wedding day?" That was so humiliating. I tried apologizing, saying I thought it would be a light-hearted reminder of how they emerged stronger from a rough patch. But she was furious. Tom seemed conflicted. He was clearly upset, but also said he appreciated my honesty and transparency. Some guests thought it was inappropriate. Others thought Tom deserved to know the truth. Amy hasn't spoken to me since, and says our friendship is over if I don't grovel for forgiveness. I feel terrible for hurting her, but I also think she shouldn't have kept that from Tom for so long. AITA? AITA for revealing my sister's infidelity to her husband? I, 28F, and my sister, Emma, 32F, have always been close. Recently, Emma confided in me that she had an affair with a co-worker. It was just a stupid mistake, she said. Please don't tell my husband Mark, 35M. It would destroy him. A few weeks later, Emma and Mark came over for dinner. Mark seemed unusually down, so I asked what was wrong. "I'm worried Emma is cheating on me," he confessed. "She's been acting strange lately." In that moment, I had to make a choice. Lie to Mark and keep Emma's secret, or tell him the truth. "Mark, I'm so sorry, but Emma did have an affair," I explained. Mark went pale. "How could you betray me like this?" he yelled at Emma. "I'm so sorry," she cried. Mark stormed out, and Emma turned to me furious. "You had no right to tell him. You've ruined my marriage." AITA for revealing Emma's infidelity to Mark. I feel terrible for betraying her trust, but I also couldn't lie to Mark. AITA for revealing my sister's secret at my wedding? I, 28F, and my husband, 30M, got married last weekend. My younger sister Sarah, 24, was one of my bridesmaids. During the reception speeches, Sarah got up to give a heartfelt toast. "Sarah, I'm so thrilled for my big sister on her special day. You've always been like a second mum to me, taking care of me when our parents divorced." That's when things took an uncomfortable turn. Sarah, "But sis, I have to come clean about something. I'm actually 8 months pregnant." An audible gasp filled the room. Sarah had kept her pregnancy a secret from our entire family, even me. I was completely blindsided and felt betrayed that my own sister hid this from me. In the heat of the moment, I grabbed the mic and shouted, "You selfish little brat. How could you make this all about you on my wedding day? I revealed that Sarah had gotten pregnant from a one-night stand, and the father wasn't in the picture. Sarah burst into tears and ran out. My husband was furious at me for airing Sarah's private business in front of everyone, but I felt she deserved to be called out for her self-centered behavior and deception. So AITA for how I reacted and revealing Sarah's secret.
ATA for secretly recording my girlfriend's parents? I, 29 me, have been dating my girlfriend Sarah, 27F, for 3 years. We plan to get married soon, but there's a big issue with her very traditional parents. They are extremely controlling and disapprove of our relationship because I'm not of their culture, religion. Recently, Sarah's parents invited us over for dinner. As soon as we arrived, the tension was palpable. Her father kept giving me dirty looks and her mother was cold towards me. During dinner, the arguing started. You are a terrible influence on our daughter. She needs to marry a good religious cultural man, not you, her father yelled at me. Please, Mom, Dad, I love him. We want to get married. Sarah pleaded with tears in her eyes. Over my dead body, you'll bring shame to this family, her mother shouted. It got so heated that Sarah and I had to leave. I was furious at how they treated us. So later that night when Sarah was asleep, I went through the voice recordings on my phone. I had accidentally hit record during the argument, capturing everything her parents said. This could be proof of their unacceptable behavior, but was I wrong to record them without permission? AITA for secretly recording Sarah's parents during their angry outburst towards us? I want to show Sarah, but I'm not sure if that's an invasion of privacy or not.
AITA for secretly recording my sister's boyfriend? I, 28F, have a younger sister, 24F, who has been dating her boyfriend, in 27M, for about a year. He seemed nice at first, but recently I've noticed some red flags in their relationship. A few weeks ago, my sister came over with some bruises on her arm. When I asked about them, she brushed it off and said she fell. However, the bruises looked like finger marks. I asked her directly if her boyfriend had hurt her, but she vehemently denied it. She said, "No way, Jake would never do that. You're just overreacting." I was really worried, so I decided to install a hidden camera in my living room when they came over. Sure enough, during their next visit, I caught Jake grabbing my sister's arm forcefully on camera after she disagreed with something he said. He yelled, "Don't talk back to me like that." My sister looked terrified. I confronted Jake and showed him the footage. He shouted, "You had no right to record us. That's a violation of privacy." My sister was crying and tried to defend him. Saying I'd taken things too far, she said, "I can't believe you did this, sis. Jake would never actually hurt me." I feel terrible for betraying my sister's trust, but I was just trying to protect her. AITA for secretly recording them